Good afternoon and a very warm welcome. Thanks very much for tuning in. You're watching Newsroom 365. My name is Amita Vadva. At the top of 1 p.m., we talk about undoubtedly the biggest political flashpoint that seems to be brewing in the state of Karnataka over the controversial caste census report that has split opinions not just across party lines but within the ranks of the Congress party itself. This is the very same caste survey pitch that Lok Sabha leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi has made the centerpiece of his social justice pitch. And now the Congress government in the state of Karnataka is in the dock over the Socio-Economic and Educational Survey report, which is based on data from the year 2015, yes, a decade ago. So the former Karnataka Chief Minister, former Union Minister and a Congress stalwart, Virappa Moily today, who was also a Union Minister back in the UPA era, has now urged his own party to have a relook, reconsider the data and consult all relevant stakeholders and political parties to reach to a consensus. Why is Virappa Moily now today sounding a word of caution? Why is he calling the survey report and the data as unscientific? Why does he think that this report is polarizing, politically dangerous as well? Many of those questions that have now been raised exactly when it comes to breaking down the excerpts from its interview to an English daily. Now, as far as when it comes to Virappa Moily is concerned, what is the confusion as far as when it comes to within the ranks of the Congress? The Congress veteran leader seems to be exposing his own party. One of the claims that he has made in that interview talks about certain contradictions that he believes are in the caste census data, and as far as also saying that this report, which he believes on the data that it is based in 2015 and now it's being republished and wrapped in new paper, he believes that this report will polarize the society and has been calling this thing as politically dangerous. According to him, the survey of around 4% or 6% rise in Muslim population, and also going on to claim, as far as Mr. Moily is concerned, that backward caste and population has become lesser. He says that there are certain doubts over the caste census data as far as the former Karnataka Chief Minister here is concerned, to an interview that he seems to be giving there, as far as he has raised certain red flags within as far as this report is concerned, which was taken up before the cabinet meeting, but however there was no consensus that was built. Now that is just one part of Virappa Moily's interview, the excerpt that we showed you what he has said, but Virappa Moily further goes on to bear when it comes to the deep contradictions and the lack of consensus within his own party over this particular survey report. He's flagged off series of issues where he reveals how a special cabinet meeting on caste census was deferred without any resolutions because there was no consensus in the meeting when it comes to the top ministers. He makes it clear that top ministers within the Siddaramaiah cabinet openly said that the population of large groups, dominant groups like Lingayats, like the Vokaligas, who also form a majority when it comes to the Karnataka government of the Congress party, was found to be lesser than what has been previously put together and extrapolated. He has added that it is not correct to say that the population of these communities have decreased in the last 10 years. Virappa Moily also added, and I quote from his interview to an English daily, where he says that the survey has shown an increase in Muslim population to the extent of about 4% or 6%, while other most backward people are shown less. That is why there is a doubt that this survey was not done in a scientific manner. Now, the Congress veterans' views has armed the BJP, which is now accusing Rahul Gandhi in particular and the Congress of dividing Hindus to consolidate minority vote bank in its favor.
The senior-most leader of the Congress party, Mr. Virappa Moily, has exposed his own party and government's so-called caste survey. He has said that the Karnataka caste survey is unscientific, that it will create polarization and divisions in society, that it needs to be relooked, especially OBC communities are being shown as less, and Muslim communities being inflated. Virappa Moily has asked his own government to relook at the entire caste survey. This is not the first congressman who's saying this. Now, even Mr. D.K. Shivkumar has said this. He is opposed to it. Only the Muslim vote bank, to appease them, this kind of caste-based divisions are being done, divide the Hindu community and unite the vote bank by giving them Muslim reservation, by doubling the reservation. This is the sinister mindset of the Congress party in Karnataka and across the country.
Now, the Karnataka Socio-Economic and Educational Survey was originally conducted in the year 2015, 10 years ago, under Siddaramaia's previous tenure. It was meant to map out the population and economic status of every caste in the state of Karnataka. After almost a decade later, on the 11th of April 2025, the state cabinet accepted the report, which runs into 50 volumes. And that's when the storm began. As leaked findings, the report shows OBC is forming nearly 70% of Karnataka's population. Scheduled castes are pegged at 19.5%, scheduled tribes at 7.4%, Muslim population reportedly at 16%, and the biggest, most shocking when it comes to politically influential castes in the state, that is the Lingayats and the Vokaligas being the dominant communities, however, are pegged at 11.09 and 10.31% respectively. So these numbers are far lower than the earlier political estimates, which placed Lingayats at around 17 to 19%, Vokaligas to 12 to 15%. Now here is where the discrepancy lies. That is why the Congress stalwart and veteran Virappa Moily today wants this data to be relooked, to be reconsidered, and that political consensus he believes within the party is also a must.
Census is census. It has nothing to do with the government. It has nothing to do with the administration. Government cannot do anything. Government can conduct only census. So whatever the result of census is coming has been put before the public. So nobody should object. If population of a Muslim community has been increased, it is on the basis of census, and I am sure that census will not damage our party at all. In Congress party, it is inner democracy. It may be Moily Saab opinion. Census, there is no rift in the party.
So to remember what Rahul Gandhi has been saying, especially when it comes to publicly demanding for a nationwide caste census. The Karnataka report, however, that was meant to be Congress's proof of concept. But today, even as their own leaders, senior ones who are questioning it, and on the sidelines, if we speak of the dominant communities like the Lingayats and the Vokaliga groups, have also been warning of statewide protests if the data isn't reassessed. For now, the Siddaramaiah government seems to be on the back foot, like Virappa Moily mentioned. A special cabinet meeting to discuss the caste survey findings that was postponed after their own ministers reportedly clashed over the figures, something that the government seems to downplay. However, opinions have now been sought from the same ministers.
Individually, there are also many members who have supported this. Even today, also in the media, one of the MLAs said we will support. We are not against caste census. So there were different opinions within the BJP also, within Janata Dal also. So naturally, some people want it, some people may not like this the way it is being done. So there were comments, there were oppositions. All this, we take all this into consideration while discussing. Probably in the next cabinet meeting, whenever it is fixed for this purpose only, we will discuss and come out with the government's decision.
Imran is connected with us. Imran, the Siddaramaiah cabinet wanted to take it up in a big way as far as when it comes to themselves showcasing that this is how a survey is conducted. But the survey and the data and the figures itself that goes back to last 10 years or so is being branded in a new book. Now, this is something when their own ministers are not agreeing with what the figures are trying to project in the survey.
Well, absolutely. In fact, Virappa Moily speaking has said that data is almost 10 years old and there needs to be relooked because many of the communities have raised objections saying that the communities have not been, numbers have been come down, especially the Lingayats and Vokaligas, the two political dominant communities. And they said that these are, the caste survey shows that these are not anymore the dominant communities, but in fact, OBCs, SCs and STs make up a chunk of the population. He also seen a number of rise of minority communities, especially Muslims. And over this, these dominant communities were politically and socially influential. say that their numbers have been misrepresented because of subcastes among them. The subcastes, in order for favor for reservation, have not written their community name but their subcaste name, and that's the reason why the committee numbers have come down. They're asking for resurvey of the numbers. In fact, we had last assembly's the cabinet meeting. It was a stormy session where many of the ministers had went ahead with and expressed their grievances. Said that the community members are not accepting this caste census report, and asked the Chief Minister to relook into it. Chief Ministers asked all the ministers to submit their grievances in a letter and submit it to him, so that he have to relook into this issue. And in fact, there is a next cabinet meeting. All these issues will be discussed, and especially there is a special cabinet meet called on May 2nd.
So the Siddaramaiah government for now seems to be on the back foot there. Imran continues to be with us. A quick reminder as far as the declaration that has been made by Rahul Gandhi in the past, because he continues with Jitni Abadi Utna Hak plank. Even their own leaders are of the view that the Karnataka survey report must be relooked, must be reconsidered, must be reassessed.
The elephant in the room is that 90% of India, OBCs, Dalits, Adivasis, they don't play the game. They're not even in the game. Caste census is one of three ideas. It's a simple exercise to say, okay, we've been, we got independence 1947. We've been going for a while now. Let's see how have the lower castes, backward castes, Dalits, how have they integrated into this system? What is it actually that they're participating in? Now, there are two other components. One is the idea of a socio-economic survey. So we want to not only understand how many Dalits there are, how many OBCs there are, but we want to understand what their social position looks like, what their financial position looks like. And the third component, which I think is very important, we want to take a look at India's institutions. We want to look at the media, healthcare, we want to look at education, the structures that deliver these services. And we want to get a sense of what is India's participation in these institutions. This is now an unstoppable idea. So if somebody thinks that now they are going to stop 90% of India from asking these questions, from demanding a census, how much participation do they have in our institutional structure? I don't think it's going to work. I think that the pressure is way too powerful. So it's not a question of caste or religion or Hindutva or anything else. It's a question of fairness. I frankly, as a politician, I don't want to live in a country where 90% of the people do not have access to opportunity. I'm not interested.